Hey everyone, I'm Zach. Welcome to Gym at Home Gym, and today we're going to be covering the Dialed Motion Roller Footplate. This is an unreleased product that will be out by the end of either December of this year or January 2027. So I've been in talks with Dialed Motion for quite some time about a few different things, and I really wanted to give some firsthand user feedback on the roller footplate with the Prime HLP, and that is exactly what this video is going to show you. This is not a sponsored review. I did pay for the product just to make sure that all of my thoughts and opinions are completely honest, and everything that you're going to see in the video is based on my thoughts. So there's no approval here on what to say. This is fully open-ended and honest. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, we have the Dialed Motion Roller Footplate, a Gym at Home Gym exclusive. Let's unbox and take a look. All right, packaging looks amazing. So we start off with the instructions here. We have the roller footplate. Looks fantastic. We have multiple boxes here. All right, some of these are just for padding. Sounds like there's stuff in this one. Just additional padding. All right. Pretty sturdy, and it's pre-assembled for us. So here we are with the Dialed Motion Footplate. Now this box definitely has something in it. We have our pins. And some screws and some knobs. All right. All right. So first up, we have a small little knob here. And we have a pin. We have a 5/8 knob. And a larger pin. So it looks like we have a setup that looks like that, along with another large knob. And we have a toolkit. All right. We have a screw, and we should have 4 of these plates. So the first thing we want to do here is, in our instructions, we have our foot plate and our pin. And it looks like the small screw goes here. What we're going to do is put that through. Quick little hand tighten, and the Allen key. And that'll be our pop pin. Make sure that's nice and tight. All right. And that'll allow us to shift the leg roller and plate. Okay, next up we have the back piece here. So we have some shims if needed. And for a tighter fit, you could put these here as shims. So there is a space here that we could use if need be. There's screws right here that we can undo, and we can put these in as needed for shims. So if you need a tighter fit for your rack, it comes with shims. Now, the last piece for me to set this up is going to be the pin. And since I'm working with 1-inch hole racks, I'll be using a 1-inch pin. So first, I need to tighten this hole here. It says tighten firmly. So this is the pin that's going to hold everything together. Now, if I had a 5/8 rack, I'd use this instead. Since I have a 1-inch rack for both my racks, I'll be using 1-inch. And I'll just keep this aside for now since I don't need it at this moment. And the last step is going to be using this knob to put it on the rack. So let's go see what that looks like. It's super lightweight and super easy to adjust. It's literally one pin. It fits perfect on a 3x3 American rack, my Prime and my Rogue rack. It fits fantastic on. Personally, I recommend this on a rack where you have a substantial 1-to-1 ratio for a lat pull like the HLP. All right, so what's really cool about this is I could actually superset the low row and lat pull. Check this out. So I'm going to start with the low row. And then turn this to the side. And now I can just stand up here, slide my legs under, and I can do a lat pull. Could change the angle up. Could lean back more. And then swing this back around. Now, obviously I'd want to change the weight between sets, but I have one piece that accomplishes both, and I don't need to move it at all. So that's one thing that I noticed that was really awesome. At first I thought, where am I going to store this? And then I realized I don't really need to remove it. I think having a Prime HLP is an ideal candidate because you have the lat pull set up here, and then you have the ability to use the 350-pound stack divided by 2 for a 2-to-1 ratio on the low row, where you have the 1-to-1 ratio. So although I have my FM Twin, the FM Twin caps out at a default 300. So for me personally, I think this setup is ideal, and I absolutely love it. So I'm going to show you from the side. We have the Dialed Motion Roller Footplate, and I've got here my Cleva Rep angled Atlas attachment, and I've got the top piece here as my CG1 from Rogue. So what I'm going to do is first show you, you can do a lat pull. And then you can go straight into a low row. Now, I would change the weight, but again, I didn't have to move anything. Like, it's all set up for me. So that's really the only change I have to make is changing the weight for the low row to make it so that it actually, you know, does something. And then I would go here, change the weight. Now I'm back to doing the lat pull. So this just changed my entire ability to work out and use the Prime HLP as a low row lat pull tower. And I don't ever really have to remove this. So that's one of the really, really awesome features that I like about this. All right, next I want to talk about the quality of the roller footplate. I think it is excellent. Build quality, this is absolutely amazing. The welds on here are great. The pop pin, super smooth, easy to adjust. I think the pads here are nice and thick. They've gotten some really, really good padding on here. Everything feels extremely premium. I have absolutely no complaints with the build quality. Now, one thing that you need to know is that this is also designed to work with their swivels and trolleys, which are going to come off of the side. So it actually will be straight when you're using their products. However, because I'm using the Prime HLP and the trolley is centered, it's going to be a little bit off center. Now, in actual use, my legs always touch the padding, and my feet are always on the foot plate when I'm using it for either low row or lat pull. So it is a null and void point. Other things that folks wanted me to cover was, is it telescopic? No, it is a fixed mount. You could always wear platform shoes. I think that it's already preset at a sweet spot. I personally wouldn't change this. It's a little bit better, in my opinion, than the length of the Prime low row foot plate. And I think that if you have a solid bench, you'll be able to pull it right up and be able to use this as a lat seat, no problem. I could also imagine you doing this from the floor too and locking yourself in, so versatility there. You don't necessarily need the bench. If you do have some kind of feet on your rack, for example, these are about 15 inches, I'm fine because my feet and my legs are going to go around it anyway. But if you're trying to pull a bench up directly to the right positioning, a longer than 15 inches might get in the way. Your mileage really will vary. It depends on how you're sitting. So I don't want to make the claim that a specific length is not going to be a premium feel. I have nothing negative to say there. I don't have a longer piece to test here. So this is 15 inches. I have absolutely no problem. In fact, I have room to spare. I imagine that as long as you can get your quads underneath, you're fine. Okay, so what don't I like about this? Honestly, I don't have anything negative to say. It could be more centered, but again, their trolleys are designed to be on the side. So you're working within that ecosystem. They have an amazing video on their site showing how this weaves right through. So I wouldn't change anything about that from a design perspective. I tried really hard to find something that could be improved here. Here's the one possible thing. When you're using this as a detached foot roller, which by the way, yes, these detach, you'll notice there is a male and female piece here. This is the male, this is the female. So you see here, this is the roller removed. I could take a 5/8 knob that it comes with, and I could put it in, and even on a 1-inch hole, and that's not going anywhere. Now, the other thing I could do is I could attach this and make a dual roller setup. If you wanted to do something like a Nordic curl off of a bench, or use some sort of double roller creativity for whatever exercise you're trying to do. If you wanted to do Bulgarian split squats, you could do that. Now, I tried really hard to think of an improvement here. And my only recommendation that I can come up with, without changing the design, without changing the functionality, is to let both of these rollers act independently. So what I mean by that is, I just showed you I could do one as an independent roller by using the 5/8 knob. What if I was able to put in an additional 5/8? And if I wanted to have a secondary location for a second knob, there could be a device that lets me do that. So that is my only recommendation, to have some sort of adapter that would let me plug into this and have two independent rollers. I could see a use case where my wife and I, or if you're working out with a partner, want to work out together on two separate uprights and you want to do something like Bulgarian split squats. You could use these as your roller. They're super compact, super easy to store, put them right back on the unit. And I think having the ability to put a second knob onto the spare roller to make it independent would be my only recommendation in terms of improvement. Everything else, absolutely phenomenal, and I wouldn't change a thing. So those are my thoughts on the Dialed Motion Roller Footplate. Overall, I absolutely love this product and 100% recommend it, especially if you have a Prime HLP. I think it's going to work really well with their entire ecosystem of the way that their pulley systems will work. This has been Zach with Gym at Home Gym. Have a great day and thank you for watching.